Throughout history, the fate of nations has turned on two forces: wealth and war. Empires have risen through conquest, others through commerce, some through both. But in the modern world of global finance, nuclear deterrence, and trillion-dollar trade networks, one question still defines international power. Is the world ruled by money or by military force? This is Economy and Empires. Who really rules the world? Is it the nations with the deepest pockets or the ones with the strongest armies? For centuries, power has worn two faces. One is economic, quiet, patient, transactional. The other is military, visible, immediate, and often destructive. Today, in the 21st century, this debate is more relevant than ever. Money or military? Who truly shapes the global order? History gives us clues. Empires were not built on hope alone, they were built on force. The legions of the Roman Empire did not negotiate their way across Europe. They conquered it. Power flowed from the sword. Yet Rome also understood something deeper. Military conquest was only the beginning. Roads were built. Trade networks expanded. Taxes were organized. Economic integration sustained what military might had created. Fast forward to the Age of Sail. The British Empire controlled nearly a quarter of the world's landmass. Its navy dominated the seas. But it wasn't just cannons that secured British dominance. It was trade, finance, industrial production. London became the center of global capital. Military supremacy opened the door. Economic dominance locked it in place. In the 20th century, the pattern evolved again. After World War II, the United States emerged as the world's leading power. Its military strength was unmatched. But what truly defined American influence was economic architecture. The creation of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank reshaped global finance. The US dollar became the backbone of international trade. Military alliances like NATO reinforced that structure. Economic power and military power worked together. But the 21st century introduced a new experiment. Instead of aircraft carriers and invasions, a rising power began deploying infrastructure, loans, and construction projects. Railways, ports, power plants, highways across continents. The idea was simple: build influence through development. This strategy challenges a long-standing assumption that force is the ultimate language of power. Supporters argue that economic integration creates dependency without war. When nations rely on trade, investment, and shared infrastructure, influence becomes embedded in daily life. Opponents argue something different. They claim that in moments of crisis, only hard power matters. Contracts can be cancelled, assets can be nationalized, infrastructure can change hands. But an aircraft carrier strike group sends a message that no contract ever could. This tension raises a deeper question. Is global influence something you can buy? Money can build roads, it can finance elections, it can stabilize economies, it can create jobs and shape public opinion. Economic leverage can pressure governments through sanctions, tariffs, or financial isolation. But money has limits. Economic agreements depend on political stability. They depend on governments staying in power. They depend on a system of rules that all parties agree to respect. And rules are only as strong as the force behind them. Consider the idea of soft power. It's the ability to attract rather than coerce. Culture, education, technology, investment. These tools shape preferences and create goodwill. Hollywood shaped perceptions of America. Silicon Valley shaped global communication. Financial markets in New York shaped capital flows. Yet even soft power rests on a foundation of security. Without military protection, trade routes can be disrupted. Without deterrence, rivals can test boundaries. The global order is not self-enforcing, so which one truly rules? Let's look at modern geopolitics. Military spending worldwide continues to rise. Nations invest billions into advanced weapons systems, cyber capabilities, and space defense. Why? Because despite globalization, the threat of force has never disappeared. At the same time, global trade volumes remain massive. Supply chains stretch across continents. Financial markets react instantly to political events. Economic interdependence has reached historic levels. We live in a paradox. The world is economically interconnected, yet strategically divided. Sanctions have become a powerful tool of economic warfare. A country can be cut off from global banking systems overnight. Access to technology can be restricted. Trade can be weaponized. This suggests that money itself has become a battlefield. But sanctions also reveal limitations. A sanctioned country may suffer economically, yet if it retains military capability, it can still project force regionally. It can still defend its territory. It can still influence neighbors through security arrangements. Economic pain does not automatically translate into political surrender. This is where the debate intensifies. Some analysts argue that we are returning to a world where hard power defines outcomes. They point to regional conflicts, rising defense budgets, and strategic competition in critical waterways. Others argue that large-scale war between major powers has become too costly. In a nuclear age, direct military confrontation risks catastrophic consequences. Therefore, economic competition becomes the primary arena. In reality, power is rarely singular. It is layered. Military strength without economic sustainability collapses over time. The Soviet Union possessed one of the most powerful militaries on Earth. Yet economic stagnation undermined its global position. Conversely, economic power without credible defense can invite coercion. Small states with strong economies but weak militaries often rely on alliances for protection. Economic success alone does not guarantee sovereignty. The question then shifts. It's not money or military. It's how they interact. Money funds the military. Military protection secures trade. Trade generates revenue. Revenue funds research. Research strengthens both economic and defense capabilities. It's a cycle. But cycles can be disrupted. Technological change is altering the balance. Cyber warfare can disrupt financial systems without a single missile being launched. Artificial intelligence enhances both economic productivity and military precision. The battlefield is expanding beyond land, sea, and air into data and algorithms. Meanwhile, infrastructure investments across developing regions are reshaping global trade routes. Ports determine shipping flows. Digital networks determine information flows. Energy grids determine industrial growth. Control over these systems is influence. Yet ultimate control often depends on security guarantees. Imagine a scenario where a strategic port changes political leadership. Will contracts be honored, or will ownership shift under pressure? If a powerful nation demands access, what prevents it from enforcing that demand? The answer often comes down to deterrence. This is why aircraft carriers still patrol oceans, why military bases exist overseas, why defense treaties are signed. Because when diplomacy fails, force remains the final instrument. But force alone cannot build prosperity. The wars of the 20th century demonstrated the destructive cost of pure military competition. Entire economies were devastated. Reconstruction required massive financial investment. The lesson was clear. Victory without rebuilding leads to instability. So perhaps the real ruler of the world is neither money nor military alone. It is credibility. A nation that can promise security, deliver prosperity, and enforce agreements commands influence. If it lacks one of those pillars, its power weakens. In the modern era, power projection comes in multiple forms. A warship entering a harbor is a signal. A multi-billion-dollar infrastructure loan is also a signal. A sanctions package is a signal. A trade agreement is a signal. Each communicates capability and intent. The world today is witnessing a shift. Established powers defend their influence. Rising powers expand their economic footprint. Regional players assert independence. The competition is complex, layered, and continuous. So who rules the world? The answer may be uncomfortable. Those who can combine economic strength with credible military capability shape the global order. Those who rely on only one risk vulnerability. Money opens doors. Military power keeps them open. But over-reliance on force breeds resistance, and over-reliance on money breeds exposure. True dominance lies in balance. History suggests that empires fall when they miscalculate that balance, when military commitments outpace economic capacity, or when economic expansion outstrips security guarantees. In the end, global power is not purchased outright, nor is it won solely through battle. It is constructed through institutions, alliances, infrastructure, deterrence, and credibility, money or military. The world is ruled by those who master both. And in the decades ahead, as technology evolves and alliances shift, that balance will determine not only who leads, but what kind of world emerges. Because power is never static, it moves, and those who fail to adapt, economically or militarily, are eventually replaced. The question is not just who rules the world today, it's who understands the rules of power tomorrow. In the end, power is rarely absolute. Money can build influence that spans continents. Military force can enforce decisions in moments of crisis. But history shows that nations fall when they misunderstand the balance between the two. The empires that endure are those that align economic strength with strategic power and adapt as the world changes. The global order is not permanent. It is constantly being negotiated, in boardrooms, in parliaments, and sometimes on battlefields. The question is not only who rules the world today, it is who will rule tomorrow. For deeper geopolitical and economic analysis, subscribe to Economy and Empires. Because to understand the future, we must understand power.